Good morning, YouTube. So with today's video, I'm going to give you 6 great musky fragrances. This list will mostly be designers, but a few of them will be cheapies, and I'm going to include one niche. First one is a cheapie that is fantastic for the spring and summertime, and that's going to be Original Penguin Original Blend. This is most certainly musky. It's very aquatic with a lot of sea notes as well. Oh my lord, this is pretty much summertime in a bottle. So I would say more summer than spring, but you can wear this on a warmer spring day. So musk, seawater, citruses, a little bit of fir, some nutmeg, and some sandalwood. This is just the epitome of casual. Pretty much all these fragrances, minus a few, I would say that half of these are more like this. Casual. This is just an everyday wear for like school. If you want to wear to work, by all means. This is not offensive by any means. The musk in this is very clean with a salty take to it. It's like by the ocean. Like when you're coming out of the ocean, and it doesn't matter what ocean it is. Well, actually no. If you're coming out of the Arctic or the Antarctic Ocean, that's different because no. If you're coming out of like, let's say like you're in Hawaii, or if you're in like the Mediterranean, even like the Mediterranean. This is kind of like when you're coming out of like the ocean or the sea, and you're just letting the sun dry you down with that sea saltiness and that muskiness after it. That's what this fragrance is, with a little bit of like a woody nuance and a little bit of a citrusy, fruity take. Fantastic. For fragrance number 2, let's go with something a little bit more formal, shall we? And a little bit more expensive. Hugo Boss Wool in Musk. This is from their collection line. So this fragrance, including like some of the other ones out there, like Cotton Verbena, Silk and Jasmine, they are discontinued, but you can still get some of these, such as this one, on FragranceNet for a rather reasonable price tag. I believe like $80 to $90 for a tester bottle, which for me, I think that's great bang for your buck. This is more of a like a colder season scent, so more like autumn than winter time, but like autumn and like early spring, late winter type of thing. This will do great. So this is more of a suit and tie type of fragrance, or more dressy. If it's like casual, it's more like business casual. This is pretty much just musk, sandalwood, and cinnamon. There's only 3 notes to every single one of these fragrances here. But this here, there is a little bit of a powdery undertone, so I don't know if that's from the musk itself, but it's a gentleman's fragrance. It is marketed as a unisex scent, which it is, but it leans a little bit more towards the men, I would say. I would say like 60 to 70% men, but women can actually pull this one off no problem. So musky, woody, spicy with a slight powdery undertone, fantastic. Longevity is about 6 to 8 hours. Next one is going to be a cheapie, and this got a lot of hype back in 2015 and 2016. Moschino Uomo 1998 release. So this has a lot of aldehydes. It's got like coriander, kumquat, musk, of course, cinnamon, clary sage, like cyclamen or lotus. So there is a little bit of a floral undertone, but it's not very prevalent. It's pretty much just like aldehydes, coriander, musk, without question, and some kumquat, and maybe a little bit of clary sage. It is a little old school, but it's fantastic. This is a little old-fashioned in my opinion because of like the musk, the coriander, and of course that clary sage. I've said this many times when I've described this fragrance in other like lists such as this, not muskiness, but just like cheapies or like spring scents, because this is more of a spring scent than anything, that this is like the old school type of masculinity, where back then, you know, the old school, like the men back then were both badasses and gentlemen. But smell it out if you can, because this really is a great scent for like every day. And it's like, in my opinion, it's ageless. It might resonate a little bit more with like Gen X or older, but if you're like a millennial or even Gen Z, you know, try it out. You just might like it. Again, just every day. For me, I think it's a great office fragrance, but can actually be also used for school, believe it or not. Longevity, you can get about 6 to 7 hours at the most. All right, so let's go with a niche, but some people say that's not niche. So I could see your point in some ways, but this is technically still classed as niche. Bond number 9, New York Musk. This is a different fragrance from Bond number 9. A lot of their fragrances, when it comes to unisex, lean way more towards the ladies, and this is a brand that I love, but This leans a lot more towards the men out there. So this is very musky and very woody. So it's pretty much that, okay? There is a little bit of florals, not a lot, but there is some. There is some osmanthus that does give it like a slight green herbal touch. There is black currant, which is in the opening, and it is there, but most certainly musky and woody with a slight powdery undertone. This is springtime, it's fall. For me, this is definitely a formal type of fragrance. Again, very different from the brand, because a lot of their stuff is just like more like feminine type of unisex fragrances. But this is actually quite classy. It's a little challenging. A lot of people who may love Bond may not love this fragrance. But for me, I absolutely love it. Longevity, this is about like 8 to 9 hours. Let's go with a cheapie that got a lot of mention back in the day, and it still does get some mention. Bla Legend Spirit. This is pretty much aquatics with a little bit of warm spices, a whole lot of citrus, and a whole lot of clean musk. It's definitely musky. There is a little bit of sweetness from it, but there's also like a little bit of woods and a little bit of oak moss. But for me, it's mostly like citruses and musk battling for like supremacy, with like the aquatics and like a slight spicy nuance with maybe a little bit of woods. Very casual. And again, there's like a little sweetness, so you would think that there's like a little bit of tonka bean or something like that, but there's not. Just super casual. Like some people say it leans more young than anything. I think that this is an ageless kind of fragrance, but just like white t-shirt and jeans. Just the epitome of casual. Longevity, 4 to 5 hours. And last but not least, this is my favorite, like one of my favorites from Dunhill. But it's my favorite from this lineup, their signature luxury lineup, which is super affordable, like $125 Canadian or less. Regardless, it's under $100 USD when you do the conversion. Mongolian Cashmere. This is not for everybody though. And this is marketed as a men's fragrance. This is easily a unisex in my opinion. This is also a little classical. So there's going to be like orris. The orris itself does add that powdery undertone. There is geranium, there is the musk, the rose, a little bit of citrus, and definitely a little bit of suede as well. Super gentlemanly with a powdery undertone. I almost forgot to state that. This stuff for me is a 5 out of 5, a 10 out of 10. It's a masterpiece. In my opinion, it is in some ways mass appealing, but it's not going to be for everybody. If you are like the man's man type of thing, not that red pill stuff, okay? Like a man's man type of person, this is something that you may not like. But if you do, then you're clearly comfortable in your skin, because just that powdery undertone, you know, it just makes this not for everybody. That orris just makes this a little bit of a feminine fragrance, but I love it. This is fall and I would say like early transition from winter to spring, so like when it's still cold out, and very versatile, but sense of style all the way to a tuxedo with about 9 to 10 hours of longevity. So guys, that is 6 great musky fragrances for you to possibly smell and hopefully enjoy. But if you enjoyed this very video, please leave me one of these, as it does help with the channel and the algorithms. Any reviews that I've done on these fragrances, if you want something a little bit more in depth, they will all be down in the description box below. And because that this is like a different type of list, it's not like your cheapy list or your seasonal list. If you want to see an incense list and an amber list, check out right here. So I thank you for the time, take care, and I will see you later. Thanks for watching, everybody.